Okay, we're starting with congruency today, congruentie. So, wanneer twee driehoeke congruent is, dan beteken dit dat hulle presies dieselfde is aan mekaar in elke opsig. Met ander woorde, al die hoeke is gelijk aan mekaar, so B hier is gelijk aan B daar, A daar is gelijk aan A daar, C daar is gelijk aan C daar. So, if you have two triangles that are congruent, it means that the two triangles are exactly the same in every way. So angle B is equal to angle B, A is equal to A, C is equal to C, that side CA is equal to that side CA. Those two AB sides are exactly equal and CB are exactly equal. So all the sides are equal and all the angles are equal, all the corresponding sides and angles. Good. So if you remember the similarity, with similarity, all the angles would have been the same and the sides would have been in proportion. So if one was 7, the other one would be 14, for example. And then if one was 5, the other would be 10. So that the one would be double the size of the other. But with congruency, they are exactly the same. So the same size and the same shape. So met gelykvormigheid het jy nou geleer dat die twee driehoeke, die een net 'n vergroting is van die ander. Die vorm was dieselfde, maar die een se sye was groter as die ander een. Maar met congruensie is al twee driehoeke presies dieselfde. Goed. So, hoe ons het aandui dat twee goed congruent is, as hierdie driehoek se naam X is en daai driehoek se naam is Y, dan sê ons X is congruent aan Y, ons maak 3 streepies, in plaas van 2 wat net is gelyk aan beteken, maak ons 3 wat beteken congruent. So we indicate that two triangles are congruent by drawing 3 lines like that. 2 means equal and 3 means congruent. Okay. So all corresponding angles and all corresponding sides are equal. Alle ooreenkomstige hoeke en alle ooreenkomstige sye is gelyk, dan het ons twee congruente driehoeke. Goed. So there are 4 instances when triangles are congruent. 4 voorwaardes vir congruensie van driehoeke. En dit is hierdie 4. So I'm just going to explain what happens, what's going on here, before you copy this. So just focus and listen, but then when you are done concentrating and understanding, then you need to copy this. So the first instance is when we have side, 3 sides. So when you can prove that 2 triangles have sides that are corresponding sides that are equal. So that one is equal to that one is equal to that one, and that one is equal to that one. So corresponding sides are equal. 3 sides. Side 1, side 2, side 3, side. Then we can say, okay, they are congruent. Right? So, hierdie eerste een staan vir sy, SSS, sy, dit beteken, as ons kan bewys dat 2 ooreenkomstige driehoeke se ooreenkomstige sye almal gelyk is. So daai een is gelyk aan daai een, daai een is gelyk aan daai een, daai een is gelyk aan daai een. Dan is daai 2 driehoeke congruent. Okay, and dis wat hierdie prentjie ook sê. That's the same thing that this picture says. AB here is equal to AB there. BC here is equal to BC there. AC there is equal to AC there. Okay, so because all of them are equal, 3 sides are equal, side, they are congruent. The second instance, when you have two triangles that are congruent, is if you have side angle side. Okay, so you have a side, you have an included angle, so the angle between those two sides and another side. So side and a side and an included angle. That's why A is in the middle. A side angle side. So daai is sy hoek sy, wat beteken dit moet sy daai hoek onderstreep ons net om te wys, hy moet tussen die twee sye wees. So as jy twee sye het en die hoek tussen daai twee sye, wat almal ewe groot is. So hierdie sy is so lank soos daai, hierdie sy en daai sy is ewe lank, en daai hoek is ewe groot, dan is hierdie twee driehoeke congruent. So if you can prove that you have two sides, that side and that side, that side and that side, with the angle between the two sides that are equal in two triangles, then those two triangles are congruent. Okay, you need to listen now. This is not something you need to understand. This is something that I'm telling you. This is how it is, and you have to memorize this. Okay, so you have to memorize. If I ask you, what are the 4 instances when triangles are congruent? So far, you have to be able to tell me if there are 3 sides, 3 corresponding sides equal, side, side, side. Or when you have 2 sides and an included angle that are equal, then you have congruency. Okay, so this is something you study. When do we have congruency so far? 3 sides or 2 sides and an included angle. Right. Die derde voorwaarde vir kongruensie is as jy 2 hoeke en 'n sy het. En dit maak nie saak met 2 hoeke en 'n sy, maak dit nie saak of die sy tussen die 2 hoeke is, en of hy iewers langs een van die 2 hoeke is nie. Solank dit in die 2 driehoeke net ooreenstem. Okay, so this is important. The third and fourth instances of congruency is when you have 2 angles in a side. And it doesn't matter whether that side is the side between the 2 angles that are equal, or whether it's the side next to one of the 2 angles, as long as it corresponds. So in this instant, you have those 2 angles and the line between them. Those 2 angles and the line between them that are equal. Okay, and then that would make them congruent. In this case, you have those 2 angles and the line next to the red dot. Yeah, those 2 angles, the line next to the red dot. So with 2 angles in a side, it doesn't matter whether the side is in the middle between those 2 and included, we call it an included side, or not an included side. Okay, so wanneer daar 2 hoeke en 'n sy is, maak dit nie saak of daai sy tussen die 2 hoeke is of langs een van die hoeke nie, solank dit ooreenkom. Alright, I'm going to do examples now, but before I do that, I need you to pause this video and please copy this little summary. Okay, pause asseblief vir die video en neem asseblief, skryf hierdie opsomming neer, sodat jy dit het, want jy moet dit leer en memoriseer. Okay, so we're going to do this one as an example, so please just copy the example first, pause the video, copy the example, and then you listen how we do this. Okay, if you are done copying, then you've now seen we want to prove that this triangle and this triangle are congruent. So ons wil bewys dat hierdie en hierdie twee driehoeke congruent is aan mekaar. Okay. So proving that they are congruent, I just want to say that line, that is a straight line going from the one corner to the other corner, okay, of that rectangle. Now, before we even try to prove that they are congruent, we try to see just what angles we can see are equal, what sides are equal. Okay, so we do that first before we try to prove anything in regards to the congruency of these triangles. So the fact that this is a rectangle, die feit dat hierdie 'n reghoek is, beteken onmiddellik daai is 'n 90 grade hoek en daai is 'n 90 grade hoek. Reg? So that angle is 90 degrees, that angle is 90 degrees. This whole angle is also 90 degrees, and that whole angle is also 90 degrees. Okay, so that's one thing we already know. Then the second thing we know, if this is a rectangle, is that this side is equal to this side. Omdat dit 'n reghoek is, beteken dit daai sy en daai sy is ewe lank. En ook omdat hierdie 'n reghoek is, beteken dit daai sy en daai sy is ewe lank. Alright? But that triangle and this triangle share this line. So this line is the same length for both triangles, obviously. Okay. Now, we also know from knowing the properties of a rectangle that if you have a line that goes from one corner to the other corner, then that line splits that angle in half. So that one is going to be half of that. So those two are going to be equal because both of them is going to be half of that 90. And then those two as well. All right. So those angles are all equal. If you didn't reason it by using that property of a rectangle, then you could have said, okay, but because this is a rectangle, these two lines are parallel. And the moment we have parallel lines, we can use fun X, right? So there we have an N. You see that N? So that means that this one is equal to this one because it forms an N. They are alternate angles. So as jy nie daai redenasie gebruik het van die skynsy nie, of van daai lyn wat daai hoek halveer nie, dan kon jy gesê het, omdat hierdie 'n reghoek is daai twee lyne mos nou parallel. En die oomblik wat jy parallelle lyne het, kan jy van X gebruik. So daar vorm 'n N, so daar is verwisselende hoeke, so daai hoek is so groot soos daai hoek. Goed, daar so vorm ook 'n N, there's another N, so that angle is equal to that angle. So this one equals this one, en hierdie een is so groot soos daai een. Okay. So now we have indicated all the lines and all the angles that are equal to each other. Let me just do this to indicate there clearer. Okay. So now we know which angles are equal, and now we can look for the instances of when triangles are equal. So nou kan ons soek vir die voorwaardes. So remember, the possible instances would be 3 sides that are equal, or a side angle side, so dis sy hoek sy, or 2 angles and a side. And that side can either be between them or not between them. Okay. So it's very important that you remember that where there's 2 S's and an A, that A has to be in the middle. You have to be able to form the word SAS. Okay. With one side and 2 angles, it doesn't matter whether the side is in the middle or not. But with an angle, the angle, when there's only one angle, that angle has to be between the 2 sides. Right. Baie belangrik dat die hoek tussen die 2 sye moet wees. Goed. So, kom ons kyk nou na hierdie eerste voorwaarde. Sy. Sien jy dat PS en QR is ewe lank? PQ en SR is ewe lank, en PR en PR vir die 2 driehoeke is ewe lank. Okay, so if we just look at that first possibility, side, PS is equal to QR, PQ is equal to SR, and PR in the one triangle is equal to PR of the other triangle. So we have, in these 2 triangles, we have 3 sides that are equal. So when we prove them equal, now we write PS is equal to QR. Okay? And we write a reason. Why can we say that? Because they are opposite sides of a rectangle. Okay, dis teenoorgestelde sye van 'n reghoek. Daarom is hulle gelyk. Teenoorstaande sye van 'n reghoek. Dis waarom ons kan sê PS is gelyk aan QR. The second thing we can say there is that SR is equal to PQ. Why can we say that? Because they are also opposite sides of a rectangle. Teenoorstaande sye van 'n reghoek. Okay. And then we can also say that PR of the one triangle is equal to PR of the other triangle, and we can say that because it is a common side. Dit is 'n gemeenskaplike sy. Gemeenskaplike sy beteken hulle deel daai sy, hulle al 2 het daai sy. Okay, so, nou kan ons sê, dus is hulle kongruent aan mekaar. Maar hoe ons nou hulle name skryf is nou belangrik. So, PR is mos nou gelyk aan PR, nee? En dan S, PRS, is kongruent aan PRQ. So as far as possible, you try to, at least in the beginning, show which angles actually are going to be equal. So in this case, we haven't referred specifically to angles, so we try to start with at least one side, then PRS, PRQ, that are equal. And what is which one of these reasons is it that made it congruent? In our case, watter een van daai is dit nou wat dit congruent gemaak het? Dit was sy. Okay. So this is how you write it. That triangle is congruent to that triangle for this reason. And that reason will only be one of these. Okay. All right. Let's use the same diagram to prove congruency in a different way. So we have that same diagram, and now, so PR is still equal to PR. So PR is still equal to PR. Why? Because it is a common side. Reg, dis 'n gemeenskaplike sy. PR is equal to PR. Then RS is equal to PQ. Right? RS is equal to PQ. Why? Because they are opposite sides of a rectangle. Hulle is teenoorstaande sye van 'n reghoek. Okay. So now you have side and a side. A side there and a side there. And this angle is equal to that angle. We've already established that earlier, right? So sien jy nou, dat as ons sê daai sy en daai sy en daai hoek, dan het ons sy, hoek, sy. Sy, hoek, sy. En daai hoek is tussen daai twee sye. That angle is between those two sides, right? And for this instance of congruency, we have to have an angle between the two sides, which we have here. So, ons derde bewys dan is dat hoek, onthou jy nou weer, hoe noem ons daai hoek? SRP. This angle will be named SRP. So SRP, and we write a little triangle above to indicate that that's angle R, is going to be equal to that angle P, QPR. Sorry, QPR. Sien jy, dis hoekom ons hom QPR noem, daai P staan in die middel, en hy kry 'n kappie op, wat beteken is 'n hoek. Hoekom is hulle nou weer gelyk? Want hulle is verwisselende hoeke. They are alternate angles. So, alternate angles, verwisselende hoeke. So jy skryf 'n rede neer hoekom elke hoek of sy gelyk is. You write down a reason why each angle or side are equal. Now we have established that P is equal to R. Okay? And that PR is equal to PR, which is a common side, and that RS is equal to PQ. So because these angles R and P are equal, now we start the names of the angles of the triangles with those angles that are equal. Okay. If it is possible for us, we write down the second angle that we write down for the first one must then be equal to the second angle that we write down for the second one. So if we look at this, R, we have now already established, is equal to P. There. So let's take S of that RSP. What angle on this in this triangle is equal to that angle? Which one is also 90? It's must now Q. So because Q is equal to S, and we wrote S second, yeah, we're going to write Q secondly. So jy wil probeer om elke hoek wat gelyk is in dieselfde volgorde te skryf. So omdat ons begin het met R vir hierdie driehoek, skryf ons neer watter hoek in hierdie driehoek is gelyk aan R van daai driehoek. Kom ons noem dit net driehoek A en B. So in driehoek A is R gelyk aan hoek P van B. So ons skryf R eerste vir daai een, P eerste vir daai een. Nou as ons S tweede skryf vir daai een, dan skryf ons Q tweede vir daai een, want Q en S is ewig groot. En dan bly ons nou net P oor vir daai een, en R bly oor vir daai een. Goed. So, you have to remember that when you write these names of the two triangles and you write down that they are congruent, those three lines means they are congruent, you have to write them in the same order as their angles are equal. So if you write R first, the one you write here must be equal to R. If you write S second, the one you write secondly here must be equal to that. All right. And then in this case, this was a side included angle side. 'n sy, 'n ingeslote hoek en 'n sy ingeslote hoek sy. So it's SAS. Of as jy dit in Afrikaans skryf, sy, hoek, sy. Okay, second example. We have ABCD, that is a kite. ABCD word gegee as 'n vleer. En ons moet nou bewys dat hier die driehoek, kom ons noem hom sommer driehoek A, of kom ons noem hom driehoek X liewer. We need to prove that triangle X is equal to triangle Y on this side. Okay, so we need to prove that those two triangles are congruent. Okay, so again, before we try to prove anything, we try to see how many sides and how many angles we can prove are equal to each other. So ons probeer eers kyk, voordat ons kongruensie probeer bewys, probeer ons kyk hoeveel en watter sye en watter hoeke kan ons bewys is gelyk. Goed. Because this is a kite, those two sides are equal, those two sides are equal. How do we know that? We know it from knowing the properties of a kite. Goed. Omdat ons weet hier is 'n vleer en ons ken die eienskappe van 'n vleer, weet ons dat daai twee sye outomaties gaan gelyk wees en daai twee sye gaan outomaties gelyk wees. Also, what we know about a kite, wat ons ook van 'n vleer weet, is dat daai twee teenoorstaande sye hoeke ewig groot is. Wat ons ook weet, is dat hierdie sy AC for ADC is equal to AC of ABC, right? Because this is a common side, that side has the same length for triangle Y and the same length for triangle X, right? So, dit is wat ons nou alles weet. As ons dit weet, dan kan ons nou bewys. Goed. Ons soek of 3 sye wat gelyk is, of ons soek 'n sy, 'n ingeslote hoek en 'n sy, or we look for 2 angles in a side, or 2 angles in a side, and that side can either be included or not included. Okay, so 2 hoeke en 'n sy, en daai sy kan of ingeslote of nie ingeslote wees nie. 'n sy, 'n hoek en 'n sy, daai hoek moet ingeslote wees, of 3 sye. Okay. So yeah, just looking at this diagram, we can already see that we will be able to use that first one there. So we can say that DA is equal to AB, right? Why? Because they are adjacent sides of a kite. Dit is aangrensende sye van 'n vleer. Goed, this we know from the previous work we did when we did the properties of quadrilaterals. So if you are still not sure of properties of quadrilaterals, you need to go back to that and study them. You can't do congruency if you don't know the properties. Okay, so as jy nog steeds onseker is oor die eienskappe van vierhoeke, moet jy asseblief teruggaan na dit toe. Dis die vorige werk wat ons gedoen het. Twee hoofstukke terugsin. En jy moet daai eienskappe gaan leer, want jy gaan, as jy daai nie ken nie, gaan jy hierdie ook nie kan doen nie. Okay? So jy moet seker maak jy ken dit. Daai is net leerwerk. Dan, DC, daai ene is gelyk aan daai ene, CB. Hoe weet ons dit? Ons ken die eienskappe van 'n vleer, en ons weet dat aangrensende sye van 'n vleer, daai twee aangrensende sye van 'n vleer is gelyk. So, those two are adjacent sides of a kite. Okay. So those two are equal, and AC for this triangle is equal to AC for this triangle. AC is equal to AC. How do we know that that's equal? It's a common side. They share the same side. Common side, dis 'n gemeenskaplike sy. Okay, so nou het ons 3 sye, en nou het ons bewys dat hulle congruent is, so D is ons nog ewig groot aan B. We can see that, so that's how we write it, because those two are equal, we're going to write them. Then these two are going to be equal, so we write their names second, and then that one is left. Sorry, B. C, A. Okay. How is this triangle congruent to that triangle? With side, side, side. Okay. So, ons het nou bewys dat hierdie congruent is aan daai ene deur daai eerste voorwaarde te gebruik. Ons sou daai ene ook kon gebruik, ons sou daai ene ook kon gebruik het, maar hier is nou net 'n voorbeeld van die eerste een. Goed, so as jy klaar deur hierdie voorbeelde gewerk het, en jy verstaan dit, doen asseblief al die oefeninge in die PDF-dokument wat ook op Google klaar